Good afternoon, everyone. If you can all please take your seats, the ceremony will begin shortly. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks another significant milestone in the development of our United States Space Force, as we officially commission and enlist our newest members into the Space Force. The host of today's ceremony is Colonel Randel J. Gordon, Commander, 412th Test Wing. I would also like to introduce our distinguished visitors here with us today. Chief Master Sergeant Ian Eischen, Command Chief Master Sergeant, 412th Test Wing. Congressman Mike Garcia, House of Representatives, California 25th District, and his District Director, Mr. Charles Navarro. Mr. Brandon Roque, Field Representative for Assemblyman Tom Lackey, California 36th District. I extend a warm welcome to all military and civilian personnel who have joined us for this momentous occasion. Additionally, we would also like to welcome all group and squadron commanders, directors, enlisted leaders, friends, family, and men and women of Team Edwards joining us in person and virtually today. Thank you for celebrating with us. I am Captain Christopher Vorgert, and I will be your narrator for this afternoon's event. Due to the heightened health precautions as a result of COVID-19, today's ceremony will have minor alterations. Understanding this is a unique format, we are grateful for the ability to safely conduct today's ceremony. We thank you for your support and attendance. As a reminder, please keep face masks or coverings on at all times, and make sure to keep appropriate physical distancing of at least 6 feet in accordance with required guidelines. This area is considered a no hat, no salute zone. During the national anthem, military members will stand at attention, and civilian attendees should place their hand over their hearts. To help preserve the dignity of this event, please take this time to silence all electronic devices. Please be aware that there will be drones flying overhead. Do not be alarmed, that was planned. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation.
Please take a moment of silence or pray in your tradition as I pray in mine. Almighty God, I thank you for this beautiful day and the opportunity to mark this occasion as these airmen transition into Guardians and join the United States Space Force. As these new Guardians make their transition into this new, perhaps final frontier, give them the strength to boldly go where few airmen have gone before, the energy to jump into their new roles at warp speed, the initiative and creativity to engage with policy and procedure to set long-lasting precedents for Space Force success, the wisdom to see all points of view and not just cling to our own version of the truth, the discernment to always follow the path of the light rather than fall to the dark, and the teamwork to open the doors of their workspace or pod bay to collaborate for mission success. Bless their families, friends, and loved ones who support our new Guardians in their trek into the Space Force. May they use the gifts and talents you have given them to effectively deliver space combat power to ensure America always remains semper supra above all. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Bram, for the invocation. You may be seated. I would like to take this opportunity to provide some context about the special location selected to host this event. Hangar 4305, known as the P-59 Hangar, is the birthplace of America's very first jet in 1942. It is also the restoration and storage facility for the Air Force Flight Test Museum and houses aircraft such as one of the first stealth fighters in the YF-117 Nighthawk, the first two-seat F-16B Fighting Falcon, and a mock-up of the legendary rocket-powered X-15. Behind you is the Rogers Dry Lake Bed, where events such as Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier and 54 space shuttle landings took place. There has not been a new service established since the Air Force in 1947, so it is fitting that this historic event of commissioning officers and enlisting members into a new branch of the military is taking place at such a historic location on Edwards Air Force Base. Before we introduce our presiding official, we welcome remarks by Congressman Garcia.
Is it okay to take the mask off? Well, thank you guys. I don't have any prepared remarks, so I'll be brief, but I do want to, as a former naval aviator, say thank you to you all for letting me be a part of this a very historical moment, but also thanks for having the Navy plane wheeled out of the boneyards here for me as well. So that's a nice touch, nicely done. I want to congratulate you all for taking part in this historic phase of our nation's history. We are a nation that is now over 240 years in age, which sounds like a long time, but it's really nascent in the grand scheme of things. And it's because of our dedication to our military forces and our veterans that we've been able to be as successful as we are. It's our ability to lean forward into the straps to explore new domains. And we can have confidence in knowing that we do dominate the airways, we dominate the seas, and we will here, because of everything that you all are about to embark on, dominate space. And so as we sit here, I'm just tickled pink. Colonel Gordon, thank you for having me to be in the cradle of such a historical base where we've made so many strides within our own atmosphere, to be sitting here among heroes who are going to make significant strides outside of our atmosphere and really redefine the way that we protect our nation and the way we project power around the globe and beyond is truly an honor. So thank you all. I wish you all the best of luck. Your job is what you all know you have to do. You have to be pioneers. My job as a member of Congress is to make sure that you have all of the assets available to you to do your jobs and to take care of your families correctly and with pride and dignity. We had a meeting earlier today, and it's not good enough to simply fly anymore. It's not good enough to simply go to space anymore. It's not sexy enough. It's not novel enough. We need to be able to do those things while also taking care of our service members' families and their dependents and making you want to come to Edwards Air Force Base and stay here for the long haul. And that's what my commitment is, okay? I'm here to learn what your needs are, and I'm here to stay so that we can provide those needs over the course of the next several years. But thank you all for taking the brave leap. Proud to be here, and thank you again for having me. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman Garcia. It is now my great honor to introduce our presiding official, Colonel Randel Gordon, Commander, 412th Test Wing.
And is the microphone on? Is this working now? Can you guys hear me okay in the microphone? Great. First, I want to say thanks to our squadron of stormtroopers, man. That was spectacularly cool, man. Thanks for bringing a little bit of levity to this event, and couldn't be an official space event unless we didn't have something with Star Wars related. So thanks, guys. George Lucas is somewhere clapping and applauding what this is all about. And let me add on a couple of additional remarks to what was kind of given in the beginning. Just about a quarter mile north of here, guys, was the original rocket kind of testing areas for where Jet Propulsion Lab and NASA used to go. Way, way, way back, right? We've talked about this hangar and just how important a milestone shift it was from having propeller airplanes to jet airplanes. Way across the lake bed, about 15 miles or so, is the Rocket Lab. And at Rocket Lab, that was the original site of some of the testing for the Saturn V rockets way back in the space race. Nowadays, it's used by companies like Blue Origin to help get forward on the next aspect of what space is all about. When I look at the sky, right, and I look out every day when I do this, I say we live under a cathedral to not just aviation, but to aerospace. When you look at things like Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit, all the things that have happened in the sky that is directly above your head. And as you stand on the ground, realize that you're standing on hallowed ground in the world of aerospace. So if there was one place to become guardians, bar none, right? No matter where you are in the Air Force, this is the place to do it. So this is a spectacular pick of a location. I really want to thank all the staff that worked, and Morgan, thanks for setting all this up. And Carson, where are you at, Carson? You're back there. Okay, got you. Thanks, Carson, for helping to set this up. Right? Thanks again for narrating, Chaplain Brahm. Again, thanks, and again, thanks to our distinguished visitors. What I wanted to say is, here's why this is so important. How many of y'all have been alive or anywhere within your lifespan have seen the stand-up of a brand new service? Right? No one. Well, maybe Mr. Judkins, but he's gone now around, so he's not around. But everybody else, right? The lifespan of the standing up of a new service, the last time this happened was almost 75 years ago. How many of you guys were following all the memes on social media about what's the Space Force uniform, what's the Space Force motto, what's their flag, what's their song, right? What do they call themselves? I mean, you guys have certainly seen a part of that as well, right? Yeah, I get it, ha, funny. But let me talk about it from a different perspective as an innovator, right? Whenever you see those types of questions, in my mind, I went, wow, that's a great question. I don't know. We've never had a chance to ever do this before. So really, you guys are on the forefront of something that is so unique in the modern history of military service that you guys are going to go off and do amazing things that the rest of us are going to just have to sit by the wayside and watch, right? I serve in the Air Force. You will build the Space Force. About a year ago, I ran into a lady. She said, hey, my kid wants to join the military. What do you guys kind of recommend? It was me. I had one of my Marine Corps friends, Army friends, and we kind of did the standard stuff. Army says join Army, it's great, whatever. When they finally came to me, I said, hey, I love the Air Force, I truly do. But if I could go back and give advice, join Space Force. Because yeah, you're going to get the leadership, you're going to get the values, you're going to get the ethics no matter what service that you go into. You're going to do amazing things for your country. But only in Space Force can you be the initial cadre to that and to build something brand new. So in the Air Force, when we talk about people like Hap Arnold, or we talk about people like Bernie Shriver, or people like Robin Olds, or et cetera, I mean, these are the folks that kind of built and set our culture as an Air Force when we allowed the Army to be its own separate service in 1947. Now, you guys are going to be those folks who actually set the pace and the standard for generations to come, which no matter what happens, no matter what else happens to you in the rest of your career or even the rest of your lives, No one can take that away from you. You will always be the initial cadre of a brand new force that just got stood up for the United States military, with the mission, essentially, of providing all of the protection from the ultimate high ground of space, which is just an absolutely extraordinary mission. So before we say anything else, I just really want to congratulate you guys on the courage to be part of the initial cadre for that, for your boldness to go do it. I am speaking from the standpoint of doing 3 startups in the U.S. Air Force between AFWorks and the Bacon Jet in Afghanistan. We were the first pilot cadre for that, and then setting up this accelerator for artificial intelligence with MIT. I will tell you, in every single solitary circumstance, it was difficult. There's no rule book sitting on the wall for how to do this, but I will tell you, hands down, those are my most favorite, most rewarding experiences that I've ever had serving in any capacity anywhere. And you guys are going to do that times 10. The last thing I'll give you is a statement that, if you guys know who Machiavelli is, he was always the guy that said, you know, the ends justify the means, right? That's not necessarily what he really meant by that, but that's the thing that people attribute to Machiavelli. But what he really said, and I always think about this, especially in the world of disruption and innovation, which is where you guys are headed, I always think about this. He was like a leadership consultant to the 1400s, the Florentine princes of Italy, and what he told them is still true as it was in the 1400s as it is today. What he said is the hardest thing you will do as a leader, bar none, the hardest thing you will do as a leader is to bring about what he called a new order of things. Because there are so many people that profit from the way things are that just by default of you proposing something new, they will fight you hand over fist to make sure it never comes true. And on the other side of that, whatever it is that you're proposing, it's so brand new that you don't have sufficient allies yet on the other side of this to defend against all those people that profit from the way things are. In our world, it's always been Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, right? Never Space Force. So you guys are about to lead in a way that's going to be exceptionally difficult. You're going to set new boundaries and guidelines and culture and build this force that has never existed before in the history of mankind on this planet. But when you do that, I guarantee you it's going to be the most rewarding thing that you ever did. Machiavelli was 100% right. It is the hardest thing you will do, but it is also the most rewarding thing that you will do. So I wanted to thank you very much, for me personally, for leading up Space Force, and for all the folks who are joining on the line. Again, I wanted to just say you get a twofer because these are your brothers, your friends, your nephews, your relatives, cousins. You saw them commission into the U.S. Air Force, and now you are about to see them transition over to U.S. Space Force. Again, this is so new and so extraordinarily cool. So congratulations to you guys as well for supporting these guys as they made the decision. What you may not know is that the first bit of Space Force, essentially, they were told to come over to Space Force because they worked in space capacity in some sort. This group, these are people who raised their hand and said, I want to do that. They were selected, and now they're going to be on the initial cadre for Space Force. So that's a huge accomplishment for them as well. So with that, I'd like to say thanks for having us, and let's go ahead and make some Guardians here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Colonel Gordon. Since its establishment on December 20th, 2019, the United States Space Force continues to stand up as a separate service to maintain and enhance the competitive edge of the Department of Defense in space, while adapting to new strategic challenges. As part of the United States Space Force development, Air Force personnel in the space-related career fields will transfer into the Space Force and become Space Force service members, known as Guardians. Today, our space professionals will join the Chief of Space Operations, the Senior Enlisted Advisor, and more than 2,400 other space professionals as the nation's newest guardians of the ultimate high ground. It is a military tradition that the newly inducted officers and enlisted members affirm their commitment to the armed services by taking the oath of office or the oath of enlistment. This oath reminds us all of the significant pledge that American servicemen and women make to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Listen carefully to the words of the oath. They speak to the significance of military service and to why it is such a privilege to serve. Colonel Gordon will now administer the oath of enlistment to the new Space Force enlisted personnel. Master Sergeant Newton and Airman Presiding, please come forward for the oath of enlistment.
We'll do this back here. Okay, is this still on? Is the microphone good? You guys can hear us okay? You guys ready? All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, guys. Outstanding, guys.
Congratulations to our newest enlisted members of the United States Space Force. Now, Colonel Gordon will administer the oath of office to the new Space Force officers. Officer transferees, please stand and come to attention.
All right, same thing, guys. You ready? Outstanding. Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed, state your rank in the United States Space Force. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, Guardians.
Congratulations to our newest officers of the United States Space Force. We will now present the new Space Force officers and enlisted personnel their individual certificates and Space Force patch. When your name is called, please come forward. We'll still need you. Airman Rashawn Pradier.
One more? One more? Got it. Outstanding.
Master Sergeant Sheldon Newton. Second Lieutenant Joshua Bonvisuto. Second Lieutenant Kazi Faraz. Second Lieutenant Trevor Siniskalchi. First Lieutenant Luke Babich. First Lieutenant Jared Bogdan. First Lieutenant Cody Bronkar. First Lieutenant Craig Carlson. First Lieutenant Kevin Leschetti. First Lieutenant Brendan Rucklin. First Lieutenant Lucas Shaper. Captain Jonathan Geertz. Captain Kyle Hathaway. Captain Jacob Lesarge. Captain Christopher Rice. And Captain Carson Roberts. Please give one more round of applause to our newest officer and enlisted members of the United States Space Force.